Hello, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial I will show you how to make a strong guardrail to protect the edge of your model railroad. Here are a few things we need. I'm using a piece of wood where at 22 mm distance I made grooves to hold a brass rod in place. We then need some white and red paint. Can be matte or glossy, but I personally prefer glossy. Some solder fluid and solder. Our guardrail material is 1/2 mm brass rod and a brass flat or U-bar of 1 by 3 mm. In this example I used the U-profile of 1 by 3 mm, which was left from another project. And I made a groove every 22 mm distance for the poles to fit in place. Then I cut the 1/2 mm brass rod in pieces of 25 to 30 mm. After that I placed them on the wooden block and secured the pieces with some painter's tape. Now we are going to solder the poles to the U-profile one by one. I first apply some solder fluid, which helps the soldering process. As the guardrail is much longer as my wooden tool, you will need to move the U-profile a few times left and right to get all the poles soldered on the U-profile. Next step is to clean our guardrail from excess solder. I'm using my Proxon with a polisher disc for the surfaces, and with a manual file I remove the large parts of excess solder around the poles. Make sure the surface is really clean before you start painting it. Now we can paint the guardrail in a white coating. After a day drying, I apply a second coat of white paint. I want to make a red and white guardrail, so I'm adding very thin pencil lines every 12 mm. Manually I add red paint between these lines. Now you can of course use masking tape, but I personally prefer this method. I carefully apply the red paint. Very likely it will require you to do 2 coats. The red paint will cover the pencil lines, so you will not see them anymore afterwards. This is a bit time consuming part, and I paint red both sides, but also the top and the bottom. And this is how the end result looks after 2 coats of paint. The underside of this guardrail will be about 7 mm above the ground. Now, to make it easier to install the guardrail in a curve, I leave every 4th pole at full length, and I cut the other ones a little bit shorter, say 10 to 15 mm. Now, all the poles will ultimately go into the ground. Now I'm going to bend the guardrail in place. This must be really done step by step and slowly. When I'm satisfied with the curve, then I'm now going to mark where to drill the holes for the long poles. I'm using a 2mm drill to make the holes in the board. Now I'm going to put the guardrail in place using only the long poles. I push the guardrail in place till the short poles hit the board. This way I can now much more easily mark the remaining holes to be drilled. Of course, if you make a straight, short guardrail, you can mark them all at once. But for a curve I found this two-step method to work easier. Now I'm going to drill the remaining holes for the shorter poles. Mostly I drill almost through the board. With a piece of wood of 7mm under the guardrail, I push the guardrail the right depth. And here we see the result of this new guardrail installed. And now the result with grass. As you see, the guardrail is really a great protection in case the bus would have lost track and goes over the edge.